That's right. Welcome back, folks, I'm in a New York state of mind edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up if you approve of the content. That helps me as well. Notifications on that way. You be alerted every time something rattles around in this brain I got, whatever's left after this football season. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar Always Irish Rat, Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Okay. Audio only, anywhere you want me, you can get me. Call in line 312-900-8815. Dial it up, folks. That's what it's here for. Good, bad, in the middle, we don't know. That's what the phone lines are for. And I always want your guys' input. So give me a call, man. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, if Johnny's not going to the game. Okay? So, also, don't forget Fighting Irish Wire, USA Today. Make it a part of your daily Notre Dame media routine. Check it out, folks. So, here's the deal. This season's flying by. Maybe that's a good thing for us. But the season's flying by, folks. It's almost November already. It's almost trick-or-treat time. It's amazing. You wait all spring and summer. It feels like the months and the weeks go by slow as hell. And then you get into the season, and before you know it, people are making their Thanksgiving plans. So it's wild how fast the season's going by. Quite frankly, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you may prefer to just fly by even quicker this back end. Notre Dame's got a tough back stretch and a lot to figure out before we get to the end of this year. So I'm sitting here looking at this Notre Dame Syracuse preview situation. This is tough, folks. And now that I'm writing for USA Today Irish Wire, they expect score predictions, and throughout the week, like I got to be on the books with the score prediction every week is what I'm saying. And they keep a tally of who's right and wrong throughout the year of all the guys who pick the games that work there. Sure enough, I'm wrong on a couple games, and it's the ones everybody was wrong on. Marshall, the stupid Marshall game and the dumb Stanford game. I give me a break, but I'm sitting there already thinking, how in the heck do you pick a game with Notre Dame when you just have no idea how they're going to look? You have no idea. There is no, with the Stanford thing, that killed any idea of like gradual improvement week to week where there's a new baseline of what we're going to get this week, the next week production wise, starting where the old week left off. No, like there is no steady incremental improvement over no, you hoped for it. We wanted it. We gave them a shot for it. And then Stanford happened and it's out. This collar's bugging me. Can you tell? I like things being even. This collar's bugging me, flopping over to this side, pet peeve. And the other thing is I'm looking at it reverse in the screen. So when I grab the one, it's the other one because I'm looking at it backwards. That's a side note, but it's bugging me that this collar's off center. Anyways, you just have no idea what you're going to get from Notre Dame. Good, bad, okay, good for a part of the game, terrible, play the whole game well. You have no idea. Anything and everything is possible week to week with this Notre Dame team. Good, bad, and in the middle. I hate it. It's just where we are. It's not a good sign of stability when you're that inconsistent, but it's our reality we're operating in. But it makes it damn hard to pick a game score. You just don't know. I don't know if we're going to show up. I don't know. So this all leaves all of us just kind of looking at the Syracuse game, wondering what the heck we're going to get out of our boys. Nobody knows. Nobody can know. You can guess, but the way this team's been up and down, you have no idea what we're going to see. Nobody does. And You shouldn't be that way when you're almost entering November, that you're just not sure what you are, who you are, what you can rely on. It's a problem. It's a problem. And I think the stretch of schedule we're entering now is why I had such a bad taste in my mouth from the last two games with UNLV and Stanford, because I looked at that 2-game window as a window to really pull back the throttle, open it up, work on some things, get Angeli in there on meaningful reps. Like, I just thought there would be more. Well, I thought we weren't going to lose to Stanford. Like, both of those games, I just thought were going to be good canvases to work on stuff. Didn't turn out that way. You were in a fight all night, lost against Stanford and UNLV. While you put up a lot of points and won by a lot, you should have had 75 points. You should have had 50 by the half. So you didn't work on all the things on offense I wanted either. Because we literally, I'm not exaggerating, we should have had 50-something points by a half. We got a bunch of extra possessions, the block kicks, good field position from punt returns, all of it. So we didn't get enough done for me to feel comfortable that we took advantage of that window. And when you lose one of them, you definitely didn't take advantage of that window, ramping up to the back end of the schedule that's getting tougher. So I'm very frustrated with that. Should have been a time to work on things. It wasn't. And that's all a sign that this is nowhere near where any of us want it. And nobody likes that. Notre Dame fans are in no man's land. You want to buy in. You want to believe. You want to go into a ball game excited, feeling like you're going to see some good Notre Dame football. But then right when you start to buy in a little bit, you get burned again. So Notre Dame fans are in no man's land. If you're like me, you're watching every game from now on going, I'm just going to turn it on, hope I like what I see, but I have no expectations because you can't rely or trust anything. This 2-week stretch is critical for salvaging a decent record, salvaging some of your pride, and possibly, oh, by the way, and critically important, you have recruiting classes you got to salvage and save, 23 and 24. All right? I see the rumors about Bowen and he went to the Oregon game and all this, and we're going to lose him. Freeman cannot end up in a position where he's not winning on the field and he's not recruiting elitely off of it. That's the one thing that cannot happen. If Freeman needs to take a couple steps back on the field to end up a few steps ahead in a couple of years, I'm down to take that ride. But a part of that includes elite top-end recruiting. I have to have that from Marcus while these struggles are going on the field. I can't not have both. You can't not be good on the field and not recruit elitely. That's why Freeman was brought in, with the idea that he was going to learn how to coach on the job. There would be some growing pains, but he's going to recruit elitely. You can't be losing all the top guys out of your classes and losing on the field. You can't. That's how Marcus gets in trouble. I can't have both. I will take a couple steps back to end up ahead, but that's only going to happen if the recruiting is top 5-ish or better consistently. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. So you could say, oh, Notre Dame's season goals are ruined. It's, what are you playing for? Whatever. You got to understand, you have to duct tape this thing together and limp through the end of the season respectably to keep all of this together as much as you can with recruiting. You can say, if a guy is that fickle that he might not want to go to Notre Dame, if we go 7-5 or 6-6, do I want that guy anyway? I don't know, but if he's a 5-star guy, yes, I do. All right? Yes, I do. If he's a 5-star guy, yes, I do. Okay? Let's answer that. Yes, I do. So how engaged is Notre Dame still? How bad do they want to turn things around and man up against two highly ranked, tough opponents? Okay? Very interesting to see our next two opponents played this last Saturday. And I came to this conclusion. Notre Dame's going to have to play really, really good ball to win these games. Complete games. More so against Clemson than Syracuse. There's no doubt Clemson has a better talent level and more pedigree on an elite scale. But Notre Dame's going to have to play two really good full football games to end up in the win column these next 2 weeks, or even end up with the split 1-1. There is no overlooking Syracuse for Clemson. That cannot be on the table for Notre Dame as an excuse this week. That just can't be a thing. They were undefeated entering last week, just like Clemson was. Playing good football. Dino Babers doing a pretty good job this year, all right? Notre Dame started out -3.5 on the spread. Now they're only a 1-point dog. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know whether it's not belief in Syracuse. Maybe. I find it hard to believe there's a lot of people with a ton of faith in Notre Dame. Or maybe it's just so many people bet Notre Dame no matter what because it's Notre Dame that you're going to lose a couple points on that spread. I don't know enough about gambling to know how that works. So I don't know what to make of this. It's super uncomfortable having a preview, and I just have no idea where to even start as far as Notre Dame's level of play. It's driving me nuts. You just don't know what you're going to get. And by now, at this point in the season, you just shouldn't be in that position where you have no idea whatsoever what you're going to get, good, bad, or in the middle. Like, it's wild, and I hate it, okay? So, what about the dome experience? It's not gold, but they got a dome. I'm not sure what to expect. Is it a little muted in there from the Syracuse fans because they just lost a big game and some of that rush is over? Is there a big Notre Dame contingent up there in New York that's going to show up for the Irish? I don't know. And that's like the fan experience, what that's going to be like. What about the players for Syracuse? We always talk about Notre Dame's letdown sometimes after playing a really, really tough physical game. What happens the next week? There was a lot of things in play that caused us to lose to Marshall. In the mix could be. You had a big physical, tough game built up, a brand name helmet and all that at their place. And it's hard to bounce back to that against a new opponent without that fanfare 1 week later. So does Syracuse suffer any of that physical hangover after a tough road game at Clemson? I don't know, but that's a question we ask about Notre Dame often. So it's fair to ask them as well. Now, here's something on the plus side for Notre Dame and on the minus side for Notre Dame. Notre Dame, you could argue Notre Dame's played their best in this situation this year. On the road against a not elite, but above average, pretty darn good opponent. BYU's fallen off the map, but when we played them, they applied to this tag. So did North Carolina. And then you could debate whether we played decent or not against Ohio State. But those other ones, kind of middle, not middle. Those teams are better. I don't know about BYU now, but when we played them, they were considered better than average, middle good, somewhere in there. And so Notre Dame's played pretty decent in that setup and on the road. And that's why I said I have some good news and bad news. It's good news that we tend to play better on the road, and this is a road game. It's bad news because why do we play so bad at home? Is it that there's 80,000 always Irishes out there with a little check sheet writing everything that goes wrong and you could feel the tension in the house? I don't know. But it's ultra disturbing how we play at home. So maybe that's an advantage this week because you're going to the Dome. Get away from all the anxious Notre Dame people. I don't know, man. I don't know if there's something to it or not. So we suck at home, and that is really depressing. It's one thing Kelly did figure out. I got to credit him for. We ended up defending our home field pretty well towards the end of his tenure. I give him credit for things where it's due, and I ding him when the blame's due. This I credit him for. He got that right, and it hurts me that I'm seeing that unravel. So let's start right here, right now. Syracuse quarterback Garrett Schrader can and will scramble on you. We saw it in the Clemson game. You'll see it if you watch some of their other games. He can and will scramble and run on you, to the effect that he was the number one rusher on Syracuse team facing Clemson. All right? Marist, whoever it is, somebody spy this guy as their main job all day and knock his head off legally every chance you get. This is the number one bullet point after watching this guy play Clemson last week. I refuse to watch this guy spin around, roll out, avoid our grab tackle, and spin around and get first downs all day. No. Big pet peeve of mine. Notre Dame does a bad job with this usually to begin games, then locks it down. I am a dummy in my basement yelling into a rectangle right now, and I see this quarterback's legs are a problem, and you have to stop it. Okay? Leading rusher against Clemson wasn't the running back, it was the quarterback. I was watching him spin around in the spinneroonie, and then he runs and just out of bounds, 1 foot past the first down line. No. If I can see this as an idiot in my basement, there's no way Notre Dame does not see this. It's my number one thing to stop from them. This guy from running. So that is number one. I do not even want to see him get loose one time. It's that obvious to me. That is this big of a priority. If Notre Dame doesn't do it, I can't help you. But I am a nobody, and I see that this could be a big problem. That's number one. The Patriots let Fields do it all night on Monday Night Football. Play good coverage, nobody open downfield. You let the kid run around, he burns you for just enough. It's a backbreaker. It is a backbreaker. When you play good pass defense coverage and all that, nobody's open. Then no one gets home. The guy runs around and makes a good play on you. It's a killer. It is a killer, especially when you play good coverage downfield. Cannot let it happen. Clemson's a good bar to judge an offense by because they have a defense that's pretty darn good. Not what it was a few years ago, because I know some people are going to go, oh, John, I don't think they are what they were back when in 18, whatever. I know. I agree with you. The defense is not elite of elite like it was a few years ago, but it's still pretty darn tough. And I know Dabo recruits real athletes. All right? So Clemson's a good bar to look at Syracuse through. Pretty good defense you're doing things against or not. Like I mentioned, Schrader, quarterback, leading rusher, 71 yards. That was their leading guy. Shut it down. The running back only had 54 yards. Shut that quarterback down. Shut their run game down. That's how it's going to go. When I look at this, I think there's two keys to shutting Syracuse offense down. One is, number one, don't let that quarterback run on you at all, and then box him in a little bit. And then number two is bracket coverage this Gadsden. Is that how you say the name? Gadsden? Top receiver, athletic guy, go-to target, kind of like Mayer is on our side. You don't let that quarterback have any space to operate. You bracket Gadsden. If you do those two things all day and Notre Dame has any semblance of a real offense, you win a game by 10 or 13 points. Shut those two down. Quarterback running, make him quarterback run. That means running in general because he is their best runner. And then that good wide receiver. You bracket that guy. Then you lock them in, lock them down. That's my plan. Those are my first two priorities. quarterback getting hit anytime he even thinks of running it. Okay, that messes up their running game. Make them do a traditional running game, which isn't their bread and butter, I don't think. Not that I've seen against anybody good. And then you bracket Gadsden, make him find somebody else. They rushed it for 124, passed it for 167 on Clemson. All right. Still only lost 27-21, but pretty low output there. Can Notre Dame hold them to those Clemson numbers or in that ballpark? Gadsden, I'm telling you, shut him down. Don't let the quarterback run. They're going to have trouble scoring. That is my roadmap. That is my roadmap from what I've seen. So they did get shut out the second half. So what can Notre Dame learn from this game? Stop the quarterback run, make them one-dimensional, double up Gadsden. They have trouble scoring. I'm sorry. Then you eat. You don't let the quarterback run. You don't let that kid get open and run wild on you. And then you lock it down and then you hunt in some second and third and medium and long situations. Okay? They scored 21 versus Clemson, 24 versus NC State, 22 Virginia, 32 Purdue, 31 Louisville. It is not like they're juggernaut on offense. And I just went through a Big Ten opponent and then most of the ACC teams. They're not putting up magical offensive numbers. If you can focus on shutting down two of their focal points from last week's offense against Clemson, and I think that's a realistic bar to ask, Notre Dame could be in decent shape. But this whole plan only works if you do a really good job of shutting down the run first and foremost. You say it every week. But sometimes Notre Dame looks better against the run, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes I don't think they look good on the run, and the numbers aren't even overall bad. But it might just be like when and where those runs came. Like a lot of the runs Stanford had bugged me. Early second half, first down run for 7 yards up the gut, stuff like that. So it only works from the Notre Dame end if you're going to beef up and stop the run and not let that quarterback run. That is priority number one. How about we win the turnover battle for once? How about that? You got an offense that's struggling, to say the least, in Notre Dame. Get a few turnovers. Give them a couple extra chances. I don't know if they're going to convert, but I'd appreciate having them. All right? I'd appreciate having them. So, I don't know what to make of it, but on defense, it seems pretty simple to me what the roadmap's got to be. Flip it over to offense. Again, I'm not trying to disrespect our opponent or anything like that, but so many of the offensive problems and offensive, whether it succeeds or not in a given play or a series, so much it just has to do with us, not the opponent, but what we're able to get done or not get done. Can we just look like a functioning real offense this week? Possibly for the entire game. That's the other thing. There are windows in these games where we look decent. You're going to have to put together 2 full games to have a chance to win them the next couple weeks. I'm not nervous that Notre Dame, won't ever have a drive that looks in rhythm, but it's, can you do it enough? You got to play some pretty full games to beat these 2 teams we have coming up. I have doubts of if we're going to or not, based off what I've seen. I don't like it. It's just where we are. Clemson ran it for just under 300 on Syracuse. Can Notre Dame get to 200? Syracuse ran it for 290-something. Shipley leading the way. Can Notre Dame get to 200 plus? It's going to be the plan. And that path is clear. Helping Pine in the run game is your best bet. Eat clock. Don't make him have to do all the leg work. Sounds great, but can you deliver it? The blueprint is there. But you got to get physical and you got to get mean and you got to move people around. 300 yards almost Clemson ran it for. Can you get over 2? Should be doable if Clemson could get to 3. And it takes a lot of pressure off Pine if you're able to do this. You're going to eat up the clock in an away game, kill their crowd vibe, all of that. All the advantages that have come forever with running the ball, right? But especially when you have a quarterback struggling. The better you run it, the more pressure it relieves off that guy and all the wide receivers and all that mess. All that mess. Okay? And then once you get into passing downs, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, Mayer, of course. Mayer. Then what? Like, of course, Mayer, but then what? Do you see open guys? Do you hit open guys? Can you see over the line? Are guys getting open? Do wide receivers catch balls that hit him in the face this week? Can Merriweather catch another ball? Woof. It's just woof. I hope for the best, but I cannot trust this part of Notre Dame's game at all. So, I hate to say it because it's what I've said every game for the last 6 years. Notre Dame's defense better show up and win the game. Right? I can't trust the offense. I can't fully trust the defense after some of what they give up this year. But I trust them a lot more in the offense. Whatever number you want to attach to it, it's a lot more than the other side, folks. So I can't trust the offense. The roadmap slowing them down is basically shutting down 2 things and 2 players. Gadsden in the passing game, this quarterback from having room to operate and run and pass out of the run. Keep him in a little box. Makes me nervous. I've seen Notre Dame not do a good job of it and then sometimes do a good job. I just don't know. So go play good on the road like you have been. Get away from that home crowd that expects the world of you like me. You don't feel all those anxious vibes of everybody waiting for something bad to happen to them. Get out there in New York, play free, go on the road, scrape out a win any way you can, and everybody feels a lot better heading into the Clemson game with them coming to South Bend. If you don't win this game, no matter what it looks like, if you lose this game, it's going to be a dark week leading into Clemson. So there's a lot riding on this. Notre Dame can win this game. No, nobody's saying they can't. Notre Dame can definitely win this game, but they have to do certain things right and well enough and for long enough in the game to be able to pull it off. All right? So go into this dome and make it your second home. Paint it gold on the way out.